This is a WTOC original presentation.
Coming again in 3, 2, wait for the flag.
It was a cool January morning on the corner of Whitaker and Gaston. Sonny was standing at the top of the concrete stairs between the flags at the Georgia Historical Society, fixing to invite Savannah's Deep Pockets to the Society's annual gala. Traffic was uncooperative, though, as the noise of passing trucks kept interrupting the taping. As we paused to wait on the racket to stop, a trolley rounded Forsyth Park and turned onto Whitaker.
This is practice because we got tourists coming by. Yankees from Wisconsin. Hi, y'all!
Sonny smiled and flapped his hand at the open windows, who simply gawked.
Wave, dang it! This is the South! Glory!
Hello everyone, I spend a lot of my time at my home on Sea Island in South Georgia where the WTOC signal is good and strong. So like all of you, I spend a lot of my time with Sunny Dixon. Newsmen like Sonny are a vanishing breed. Rare is the anchor these days who's the lead voice in his hometown, who leaves the anchor desk at 6:30 and goes to stand behind another mic at a community event, who believes in the importance of relationships and the value of trust. Sonny was handpicked by the other news legend in the Southeast, Doug Weathers, and it is with Doug that our story starts.
Doug used to have picnics at his house off of 52nd Street, where the staff would kick back and enjoy each other a little. Doug would occasionally invite a guest or two, but only if they fit well into a group that was comfortable eating bologna gravy, a Weathers specialty. Sonny was comfortable with that.
From time to time, either at a barbecue or at his house or somewhere, we would joke about me coming back to WTOC.
Sonny was picking the guitar with 2 or 3 of the guys in a gazebo behind my house. And he asked me, he says, Doug, he said, I want to get out of politics. Is there anything you have there that I can do?
It took a few years of Doug picnics, thousands of Sonny miles up and down I-16, and a bold strategic move to bring Sonny home. Since Doug had returned to the station in 1979, no WTOC news person had ever left the Big Red 11 for another station in the market.
One of the anchors had decided that he didn't want to re-sign a contract. He finally decided that if I would promise him that he could take my place because they knew I was going to retire, that then he'd stay. I said, I can't do that. I cannot do that. And so he decided that he would leave. So then we started thinking, and I said, well, let me call Sonny.
Sonny was in his 5th term serving in the state legislature, and the road had worn him down. He was more than ready to make a change.
And then I called Doug and I said, the sweet Lord Jesus ain't talking me into staying anymore.
For 9 years, he's been your voice in Atlanta.
While Atlanta had lost any appeal for Sonny, it had nonetheless taught valuable lessons and forged crucial relationships that he would bring to the news desk.
We didn't get hung up on politics, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. That didn't come into play. We were all representing Chatham County.
At the knee of then Senator Scott and Senator Tom Coleman, SD learned the ropes in Atlanta and even charmed his way uphill into the good graces of powerful Speaker of the House Tom Murphy.
They were both fiscal conservatives. Sonny did have a blemish on him. He went to the University of Florida and not to the University of Georgia.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Georgia Ports Authority. This is a big announcement here, and with me is
Sonny overcame any reservations Doug may have had when he was tapped on the spur of the moment to co-host the live announcement of Home Depot locating an important piece of its operations in Savannah. That performance convinced Doug that Sonny had the skill set to contribute at WTOC.
People who are effective in the legislature, they usually have 2 or 3 traits. One of them is that they're sincere, they are very believable, and they are very convincing. And for the most part, you've got to be respected. And if you are effective in those areas, along with having to do a lot of presentation from the well of the House, That's pretty good training for sitting behind an anchor desk.
But Doug had his own internal battle to fight.
So the consultants had their round and everything, and they were not really sold on Sonny.
But I said, you know, Doug, really, I'm not kidding, this may not work. He said, hey, they put up with me, they put up with Johnny Cole, they'll put up with you.
First of all, Sonny is a motivator. Sonny is a great speaker. Sonny has never met a stranger. And Sonny does exactly what all of us at WTOC was trying to do. He carries the flag, and he plants the flag, and he salutes the flag. And he's done everything that I could think of that he needed to do to help move this station forward.
As with every fight he ever joined, Doug won. But the seat Sonny got was not Doug Weathers, at least not yet.
I wasn't expecting anything, quite frankly. The beauty to me initially was the opportunity to work with Doug Weathers, who I love like family. And it gave me a chance to be home.
I wanted us to be a family again, so that was exciting for me.
When we come back, the Sonny effect takes hold.
Sonny, from the Boy Scouts to the military, to school kids to the seniors, you have been the master of ceremony, not just for Savannah and the Low Country, but for the world, for America. We're going to miss you. You've done a great job. We love you. But I've always had a few problems with you. Well, actually, only one problem. And you know what I want to say is I think you know what that problem is, Sonny, because you went to the wrong school. And so here we are at your office, and you got pictures of the military, school groups, Zell Miller, let the record show, I'm not up there, Buddy Carter isn't up there, Mayor Edna Jackson isn't up there. I think we all know that's what he thinks of local politicians now, but we do have a few things we want to change about your office, Sonny. First of all, this Tybee thing, now that you're retired, got the motorhome, you drive to Tybee anytime you want to. We want you to have another memory, which is a very good memory for those of you who can't see. Georgia, 24, Florida, 20. Sonny, I've seen your offensive dress. I did want to give you, and I bequeath to you, a necktie, a real necktie, one that can be worn in any circles anywhere. A couple of other things to spice up the office, to make sure everybody knows that, well, you've kind of tried to make it hard for me here, Sonny. Look at this. What we need to do is, where is the trash can? We'll find the trash can for this in a minute. Put this right here. A couple of other things for you, Sonny. We just want you to know that as great of an MC and the face and the voice of the Low Country that you have been, there's always been one tragic flaw. We have now solved that.
We recorded Sonny's interview in the woods at Ebenezer on a Sunday afternoon that turned out to be the most humid day of the year. So that's not Brill Cream keeping his hair in place, that's South Georgia sweat and gnats. 5 generations ago, on New Year's Day, 1771, Sonny's great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents came over here from the other side of Effingham County to get married in this very church. Those deep, hard-scrabble roots produced a man of unusual conviction and fortitude.
5th of August, 1952. Hottest summer in Savannah history. My mama bore a 10-pound baby, and she's still upset about it.
That 10-pounder would be stubborn as a mule his own self when it came to such topics as Buy American.
That also goes back to his upbringing of having family on your side of the family and ours of people who worked in clothing mills or towel mills, and that was their livelihood, and it was a good living, a fair living for people who worked hard. And so to see all those jobs go away, he takes that very personally.
So as a reporter at WTOC, Sonny immediately connected to the people and the Doug Weathers newsroom philosophy.
This is a selling job. You have to sell it every day. Every time you ask them to turn that television set on and watch the news, you have got to be sure that you do it well enough that they will come back tomorrow.
WTOC Scrapbook, Foundations of Faith, Top Teacher, all became signature Sonny pieces that connected in his unique way to the people of South Georgia and southern South Carolina. It was vintage Sonny But Sonny always points back to Doug.
I came in the station one day and Doug was walking down the hall with 6 sweaty fellas that had Chatham County on their shirts. And I said, "Hey, how y'all doing?" Shook their hands, went on my way. And a little later I ran into Doug. I said, "Who were those guys?" He said, "I was coming back from lunch and they were outside, flagged me down, said they'd never seen a television station." I said, "Pile in."
On February 7th, 2008, all the people he knows and all the things he'd done converged in a defining moment. As he was leaving the station, the call came in that there'd been an explosion at the sugar refinery, part of the district that Sonny had represented in the state legislature. With virtually no solid information, Sonny took the anchor desk for a live special report that would last the night, relaying fragments of information as they came and the story developed. He was singularly equipped for that time and place.
He was completely calm. He was trying to keep all of that at bay and focus on telling the story and telling people what they needed to know and how they could help. And it was just so many things about his past, so many connections coming together to help him tell the story for people who cared deeply and were quite frightened.
Changed our orders. We knew it was a recovery, but couldn't tell the firemen that.
That scene in Port Whitworth was eerily reminiscent of the national tragedy that had poured out onto television screens 6.5 years earlier. On the first anniversary of September 11th, Sonny and I had traveled to New York to revisit the scene, along with the rescue team from Savannah's Southside Fire Department that had rushed to New York on September 11th, Captain John Frank and his rescue dog Morgan. For 3 days, we listened and looked and walked the city, writing a line here and a line there, and finally coming up with a rough outline of how the program should end.
And then when I said it, I was no longer memorized. I was no longer reciting from memory. It was just pouring out. And I can remember almost trying to hold back the tears because I was into it. It was, how could you not be? I looked over my shoulder and I said, "We will never forget." Craig, usually we've shot thousands of things together, and Craig will usually say, "Another one for insurance." And as I stood there, I heard the click on the bottom of the camera as he took it down. The wound has not healed, but clearly the notion the terrorists had of bringing down America, well, that's been buried under a pile of rubble far heavier than that of the World Trade Center. Shoulder to shoulder, Americans stood together to reaffirm 2 hallmarks of the American spirit. America will endure. But we will never forget.
Have you been able to think of anything good to say about him?
In March of 2002, Sonny fell in with a couple of Irish guys at the helm of WTOC's presentation of Savannah's St. Patrick's Day Parade.
So I saw all these umbrellas. I said, God, they must be talking to the governor. Everybody moved out of the way, and it was you.
It wasn't the governor.
He quickly earned the nickname of the Belfast Bubba, alongside of 2 guys who were Savannah like him, who were quick-witted like him, and who were just a little off-kilter like him.
There's some of those guys that are just crazy as outhouse rats. And then you have that awful realization when you encounter a Jimmy Ray, or worse yet, a Tommy Brunson, that you're just like they are.
I'm the orange on the other end of the flag, the Northern Irish Protestant, and thank you very much for not pushing me off in the street.
No, sir. No, we wouldn't do that. We're not going to do that. Now, tomorrow's a different story.
That's right, yeah.
The Irish Catholic boys and the Scots-Irish Presbyterian found common ground in the endless material the parade served up and their own kindred spirits.
And I think that's it. I think there is a chemistry there between the 3 of us. We could sit on a stool in the park and talk and probably do the same thing.
When the hillbillies start coming around the corner in front of the cathedral, and I hear it on my headphone, the Shriner hillbillies are coming, and I said, now here comes all of Sunny Dixon's cousins from Tattnall County.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm wearing the pin today as an honorary ranger.
Rangers lead the way. 1st Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment of the United States Army. Your fighting Rangers. Rangers lead the way.
About one thing they did not joke. When the soldiers filled Abercorn Street at the cathedral, none of the three would go anywhere near irreverence. Since coming to WTOC, Sonny's developed a special bond with soldiers everywhere, but especially with his beloved Night Stalkers and the Rangers.
To have a guy like Sonny there that's really highlighting the tremendous Americans that are in this battalion right now and that are really sacrificing for this nation, it's really pretty special, and it is nice to hear that recognition. That's a remarkable cut of a man to offer to do that, train to do that, and then keep your mouth shut about it.
Among the things that separates Sonny from anchors in other places, that down-home demeanor was no act. You're as likely to see him in downtown Metter as you were downtown Savannah. He felt perfectly at home in each and every one of the communities of our region.
If South Georgians could elect their own governor, Sonny would have a job for life. He's been part of our communities, and the smaller the better.
People think Sonny is from Tattnall County, you know, or the Glenville area or whatever. And I can see why, because I think he loves this area very much, and he loves to get out and be with the people.
Ask Sonny himself, and he'll tell you it's in his blood.
My daddy grew up on a tobacco farm in Pierce County, Georgia. His roots on back in Tattnall, Candler, Evans, on up into Bullock and Scriven and Effingham. And farmers all the way back.
And those roots connect him to a way of life shared across this region.
Of course, he claimed to have kinfolks in virtually every county in my district, and while I kidded him about it, he could usually back it up with a name and an ancestor.
Look for a big gathering in a small town, and Sonny's likely there, especially if it's a festival.
He has been an inspiration to us when our volunteers were tired and didn't think we could go any farther. Here comes Sonny's smiling face, ready to pitch in and do whatever, and he has done whatever.
From an outstanding event to an outstanding teacher, Sonny went the extra mile to showcase a community's bright spots. Time and time again, he made celebrities of small-town teachers and reminded us the good ones outnumber the bad. But he dealt with the unpleasant news, too.
I see Sonny as that family friend who's with you when times are good and times of celebration. I see that family friend who's with you when there are times of sadness.
He's with us, whether it's good news or whether it's bad news, but somehow he seems to spin Jeff Davis County. He's always, if it is bad news, it's really sympathetic, but if it's good news, he's like our very favorite cheerleader.
Through all of these times in the Coastal Empire, Sunny Dixon has been there for everybody, for all of us, for every community.
It means a lot to him to just be with folks and, you know, just to visit one another makes a lot of difference. You know, like I say before, he just doesn't meet a stranger. He's a people person, and that means a lot.
It's just awesome. Sonny Dixon has roots everywhere, and you go places and you see people, and Sonny's related to people, or he's came to their church function or their Kiwanis function or whatever social function, and he's just a part of everybody, and he's just going to be sorely missed. And I don't know what we're going to do without him, but he has been truly a blessing to all of South Georgia.
I'll tell you this. WTOC and the Coastal Empire are the better for Sonny Dixon's service.
On a personal note, Sonny is more than a co-worker. He's probably been my closest friend for nearly 20 years. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to call you, because the question I ask myself in countless situations every day, what would Sonny do? And the second question I always ask is, how much trouble is this going to bring me? Congratulations on retirement. You've earned it.
Last week, we held a station luncheon to honor Sonny's retirement. He got to choose the menu: fried chicken and macaroni salad and blueberry cobbler. Our boss, Scott Dempsey, gave him a GPS so he can find his way home when he's through gallivanting around the country in his motorhome. He recognized his wife Margaret and his daughter Emily and a handful of people who came back to the home soil to say goodbye. Francis Chalmers, who touches just about everything you see on WTOC, was especially thanked.
Most of all, I love you for all of the work that you've done unnoticed and perfectly for all these years.
Adam Kennedy from Claxton and Wayne Dasher from Glenville represented God's country in Sonny's words.
Oh, it's crisp.
Wow, listen to that.
Excuse me, Mama taught me better than that.
Colonel Tegmeyer surprised him and choked him up with a plaque of thanks from the Rangers that's probably already hanging on the mantel at the Dixon house. And then the last word belonged to Sonny.
WTOC has been a part of my life and my family's life, all of my life. I never fathomed that I'd one day be on that TV station. Radio, maybe. I especially never fathomed that I would anchor the 6 o'clock news like Dave Randall and Doug Weathers. But it has come true, and it's time for it to pass. Welcome to our city. Welcome to our community. Will always be a part of my heart. It is not just a television station. It's not just a spoke in the wheel of Raycom Media. It is the heart and soul of Savannah, Georgia. Please take good care of it. Thank you.
Is it coincidence that Sonny and I are retiring at the same time? No, I haven't been looking for Harleys, but you just never know, I might. But you can be certain you'll see Sonny and me a lot in the coming years around the Golden Isles and Coastal Empire and in the Low Country. I know it's just a matter of time until I hear people start asking, who is that with Sonny? Well, congratulations, Sonny, and good night from Washington.
Glory!